In this episode, I'm going to talk about Rapoport's rules. It has to do with criticism. I use it in a little bit different way, but I think it's relevant to anybody that's going through a process, especially in my system where you go in and study things customer in and you're interacting with people on the front line that are answering phones or interacting with customers. And uh, you know, it can be used in arguments. I use it for more understanding and discovery. Now, I don't know where you stand on the spectrum of being someone who likes to argue versus somebody who doesn't like to argue. Personally, I like to argue. I mean, for a combination of reasons, start to understand where people are coming from, and I like to break apart some of those arguments. And I've run into a lot of things over the years, especially being a Deming advocate. And because my system's a little bit different, to be honest with you, and people have a hard time wrapping their head around, things like financial measures, those are really good. And we have those in our company. And when I say that they're kind of the wrong thing to do, then I get a couple of reactions. When someone wants to argue with me, or two, they turn away because they don't like to argue. So, um, so these are some of the things. Rapoport's rules is basically four steps, and you know, it it it's a way to enter criticism, but doing the first three steps allows you then to be critical afterwards. And the first step is to restate the person's position with some degree of clarity. You got to assume that person has good intent. At this point, you don't want to be critical or starting to argue with them over something that they believe. Um, you know, it's basically get agreement on restating what they said. So if they say something, restate it from your understanding and let them correct you. I mean, let them say, no, that isn't what I meant. I meant this. And that way, sometimes that's enough right there, because they'll sit there and say, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. The second step is to acknowledge where you agree. Now, one thing you can pretty much run across with almost anybody is we're little Venn diagrams out there, that overlap each other, and we don't agree on everything, which I think is a good thing. I get different perspectives that way. But think of it as a Venn diagram that overlaps with somebody else and where you agree with them. And don't put any caveats in there about this and that. It's not second step. You don't want to be critical at that juncture. The third step is list the lessons learned from the person. What often when you interact with somebody, you're going to get some new ideas, you're going to get some new perspectives, you're going to, it's going to open. Now, it doesn't mean you agree with them. It's just, okay, this is what you said. That I've not run into that before. It doesn't mean that you're giving anything up or anything like that, but it's a perspective or a new idea that you had not heard before. And then finally, in the fourth piece, it's, respectfully respond. Say, it doesn't have to be an ad hominem or personal attack on someone. Um, you know, the, don't make it about right and wrong. Oh, you're wrong. Type I'm right, type of thing. But look for specific points of disagreement and enter your criticism there respectfully. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover this week. I know this is a short episode, but I think it's helpful for people to kind of step back, and especially in executive roles, often when you're in a position of power, and I found this as I'm trying to discover things, whenever I take an executive, let's say to the front line, they see something going wrong, they'll basically, say, "Oh, they're doing it wrong." That doesn't help you find out why they're doing it wrong. So you kind of have to go through the steps of, this person believes this is the right way, either because they were trained that way or they think it's the best way or whatever. It's the opportunity to get perspective on how your system is operating, and as opposed to trying to fix things, is what executives' mindset 90% plus of the time is. It's going through and trying to understand, okay, so why did that happen? How did we, in our training, train this person to do it this way when we know that's not the way that we intended? So you have to kind of get into the brains of folks. And, I think these are things that executives really miss in not interacting people in the front line. And I know the bigger the organization, the harder it is to get the president or the vice president to come down at the frontline level and understand actually what's happening in their system. But that's my system. That's my executive education takes you through, as opposed to case studies in a university setting. It's going through and learning about your own organization. It's in essence getting even a better university degree while you're having an impact on your organization. That's what I wanted to cover this week. And remember, there is always a better way.